After 4 long and arduous days of hearings, many people have been left unsure how to feel about Brett Kavanaugh, the Trump administration's Supreme Court nominee. Perhaps the most tensely awaited revelation coming out of these hearings was Kavanaugh's stance on a woman's right to reproductive freedom. It was Senator Dianne Feinstein who posed the question, asking Kavanaugh if he agreed with Justice O'Connor that a woman's right to control her reproductive rights affects her ability to participate equally in the economic and social life of the nation. Kavanaugh's response was to be expected. As a constitutional conservative, he is almost obliged to stand behind any decision made by the court he will perhaps soon be serving on. As a general proposition, he said, "I understand the importance of the precedent set forth in Roe v. Wade." Precedent, the word of the day. And he would have you believe the largest focus of all his rulings. But what does that response even really mean? Far too much focus has been placed on the sensationalist concept of Brett Kavanaugh overturning Roe v. Wade. Such a thing would not be easy to go about doing. In his own words, Kavanaugh respects the precedent set forth in Roe v. Wade, and as he was quick to point out, confirmed in Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Once again, as a strict constitutional conservative, well focused on, here it goes, precedent, it would go against his very existence to look at overturning a case that so many people have relied on for so many years, a case that has been confirmed at the Supreme Court level on a separate occasion. Focusing all this ire and attention on this imagined potential Kavanaugh has to overturn a landmark ruling takes away from the true threat to reproductive rights coming out of this hearing. A judge like Kavanaugh offers the potential for a much more underhanded dismantling of reproductive rights. In states already inhospitable to abortion rights and a woman's right to reproductive freedom, this is something that is already very seriously happening. But that's the thing. This isn't about whether or not women in LA or New York or other typically left-leaning, upper to middle class, well-educated areas will continue to have access to abortion. The likelihood of those being stripped are tremendously low and would require draconian tactics far beyond what we have insofar seen from this administration. While those tactics aren't totally out of the realm of future possibility, these setbacks to reproductive freedom are already happening. A person like Kavanaugh on the bench will only exacerbate them. That's not to say that a federal ban on abortion is not something to be concerned with, simply that the most pressing concern that Kavanaugh's nomination raises is a heavier hand in states that were never welcoming to those seeking abortions in the first place. This isn't about women who live in blue states. This is about women in the middle of deep red states who are already 100 miles in every direction from a safe abortion provider to begin with. Women who have never truly reaped the purported benefits of Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey, a safe abortion without undue burden. These women risk losing the very little protections they are currently afforded, which translates into what might as well be a categorical ban on abortion. These are not hypotheticals. These protections are and have been steadily under attack. In May of this year, just 4 months ago, Iowa passed the heartbeat bill. It now sits on Governor Kim Reynolds' desk. The legislation aims to block abortions once a heartbeat can be detected in a fetus, effectively banning abortions any later than 6 weeks following conception. In March, Mississippi just set a hard line with 15 weeks as the cutoff point for legal abortions, with absolutely no exceptions, not even for rape or incest. Kavanaugh may well, as a judge, respect precedent, and as an individual, decline to comment on abortion's legality. But he also very famously dissented in the Jane Doe abortion case from earlier this year, more recently backtracking, blaming his dissent on a more bureaucratic issue than a moral one. She didn't have the right paperwork. This much smaller case reflects the true threat of Kavanaugh, something almost imperceptible in the current climate of performance politics centered around ratings grabs. We've become so accustomed to blundering politicians that a judge who knows what he's doing is hard to find fault with, whether or not his core beliefs are any better than the president who nominated him. Kavanaugh appears, on the surface, to be a by-the-book sort of guy, but that's what's particularly discomforting, because he is talented at interpreting the Constitution to serve his own needs and beliefs, all while falling back on precedent, offering constitutional history lessons when asked hard questions about his stances. He's not the big bad we've gotten so used to seeing in the headlines. He's quieter, but no less troubling. Brett Kavanaugh has said, following his hearings, that he is optimistic about the future of America. One can only begin to wonder exactly what sort of future that is. If you want to stop Kavanaugh, you can call your senators and urge them to not confirm him. Even if you don't live in Maine or Alaska, you can call Collins and Murkowski to let them know that you will support opponents in upcoming elections if they support Kavanaugh. Thank you for watching. This has been Samantha. Subscribe for more videos.